to Chow Dapper's assistance. Hopefully this works. So, are you there? Phew. I do have notes of these slides, copies of the slides to take away with you, and they will include notes as well, which are taken from the Toastmasters manual. So as Yanni said, choosing a topic is sometimes very, very difficult, even for a manual speech. What do I choose? There's so much to choose from, and you sit there sometimes thinking, but I can't think of anything. And going through the material here, Toastmasters have come up with some helpful hints as to how that task can be made a lot easier. The first thing you need to do is obviously consult sources of information. Now this is somewhat obvious, but let's cover it first. And the most obvious one is your own personal experiences. Like we just had Angela, personal experience. I think most topics that we come up with are related to our personal experience. And the question is, why does that make a good topic? And the answer is obvious, that the more related you are to the topic, then the more response you'll get from the audience. Because they can see that you're delivering it with conviction. So if you come up with a topic that's based on personal experience, that's the preferable one. The obvious choice then are your own interests, and we've had lots of topics along those lines. The second one they've suggested is career. I'm thinking about that. We work 8 hours a day. It's a lot out of our lives. And in the material, which I've referenced in the conclusion slide of the material that I'm handing out, they give an example of even in your office, when you're working, you can look around the room, and as they describe, think in threes, and they come up with 9 topics, really interesting topics, just sitting in your office. So, see that reference. The third is family, especially if they're a dysfunctional family, that sometimes helps. But you know, child rearing and family events and so on is a common one. And then interestingly, education. Again, 12 years, 10 to 12 years at school, plus university, college. It's a wealth of information that we can choose from. The second is a little bit more difficult. It is reference material, and obviously the internet dominates there. But I'll put my personal spin on this. There's websites everywhere, and you can go onto the web and you can just get inundated. I really found Wikipedia to be a really useful source for topics. And the reason is the way it's structured with its neural network concept. You think of a broad topic, and Wikipedia's got it. But then it has the links to all the things that are related to that topic. And you can actually just spend 5 minutes on Wikipedia going off on some of these links. And then there it is. That's a great topic. I'll choose that one. And Wikipedia's not so much maybe giving me all the information I need, but it's helped me through and found a topic. The other one I've used is a bit of reverse logic, and that is quotations. Normally we think, oh, you think of a topic finally, and then you go and search for a quotation that you might find useful. Go to quotations first. There's great quotations websites, and you browse through them very quickly. And you say, I love that quotation, and that makes a great topic. You know, it's going to lead me down to the path, and that quotation will be a centerpiece of it. So go to quotations first. I've often found is very useful. There's books, if you're well read, newspapers, these days usually online. Don't forget advertisements in newspapers, they're suggesting, and I hadn't thought of that. I usually skim and look at the current affairs and so on. I had a look at my newspaper today, and some of the advertisements are an absolute hoot. They give you some great ideas for, you know, they're selling stuff that you would not normally think of, and that leads you onto other topics. But the last one is magazines. I had this experience. You're sitting in the doctor's office, you look in the magazines, they're 5 years old at least, and you look at the cover, and you think, and they tend to be all ladies' magazines and so on. Why not? Why not pick them up, flick through, and you may find a topic. You use it for Toastmasters in that time that you went to the doctor. The next thing is to actually get inspired. You can try and use these sources for getting ideas, but ultimately the idea for a topic and the inspiration for a topic can come anywhere and any time. And really, you need to be prepared for that. And it's interesting, in doing the research on the internet, J.K. Rowling got the idea for Harry Potter on the train. It was a 4-hour train trip from Manchester to London. It was crowded, and she was sitting there, it was delayed, and she suddenly got this idea of a young, bespectacled boy who was a wizard, but he didn't know why. Her pen didn't work. And she was too shy to ask anyone for a pen, so she sat there for the 4 hours thinking up all these thoughts in her head. And as soon as she got home, she started writing The Philosopher's Stone. And she thought sometimes, well, maybe if I had a pen, it would have stopped my creative processes. But on the other hand, she knew that there were ideas she had in her head that never made it into her thoughts. That she had them, and they were great, and she lost them. And similarly, J.R. Tolkien with The Hobbit, he was marking exam papers late at night, and suddenly there was just a blank sheet inserted in the pile. So out of boredom more than anything else, he wrote down the first thing in his mind, which was something like, out of a hole underground, there came a hobbit. He didn't know what a hobbit was, but he thought it was a great idea, and then he thought of that through over many, many years and decided to solve the mystery of the line that he wrote. But it was just that he had the piece of paper, the pen in hand, and he got this great idea, and the rest is history. The same thing can apply to us. Personally, I have some of my best ideas on the train going home from work and walking the 20 minutes up the hill at night. I start talking to myself a little bit with topics and so on. That's all right, no one's around, I don't think. But you do, your mind's free and you get these ideas and you have pencil and paper. And then there's what I've trademarked as the Archimedes phenomenon. In the shower, I have my best ideas. There's no one around, obviously, and nothing. I was standing there, and I got, oh, what a great idea for a topic. And while I haven't done it yet, I think in my next Toastmaster, I'm going to put some pen and paper.
In the shower.
Not in the shower, in the bathroom, because I have lost ideas in the shower. I think, oh, that's really great, and you left and you forgot. So again, be prepared, and obviously with mobile devices, you can always be prepared to put some ideas down. So that's the suggestion. Now comes the really, I think, really useful, very, very useful stuff in this Toastmasters presentation. And that is the whole idea of narrowing your selection. You've got these ideas, but the time's come to actually select a topic. And there are 4 steps, 4 things that you need to do. The first thing is to know your audience, obviously, because you've got to match this topic and what's the content and direction of your topic that you're going to give in your speech to the needs of that audience. Now, it sounds obvious, but really, you know, is it a big